Well, hey everybody. Kind of an update. One of the last videos I put out was to give you an update and let you know what my summer was like and why things weren't, not everything was going to plan. And so I'm back just to give you a couple of updates. I've got some videos almost put together, so I'll be posting some things. And as I dive into this, I'll just say if you like my content, if you like what I post, please hit like and please subscribe and help me build my channel some more. More things going on. So at my last video I mentioned first of all that I hadn't had the Camaro out much this year. It hadn't seen much of a ride, and I missed the Dream Cruise and most of the other cruise events because I've been making travel out to Wyoming to help care for my elderly uncle who's currently in nursing care because of a car accident. And he's progressing, things are going. I got to head out in a couple of days to spend a few days with him and again get eyes on. There's only so much you can do by telephone, and sometimes you need to be there, so I'm about to be there. I also have parents who are in their late 80s, and I'm kind of responsible for them too. They're pretty good on their own. They live in their own house. Things are good. But my dad has Parkinson's, and he's not doing as well as he had been. So it was a great time to get the Camaro out for a road trip. I needed to head over to Wisconsin and visit with them. And I decided the weather forecast was just stellar. It was like we had a week with no rain. And this summer we've had a lot of rain out here. So it was like sunshine for a week, nice temperatures. I was going to go up, get the Camaro out, and make a run. What I needed to take into account was my wife's birthday was coming up also. And so I ended up making a loop around Lake Michigan, went out to see my parents for a few days, came back around the south and visited home with my wife because she was working. And for her birthday, and then headed back up to my other place to make the full loop with the Camaro. So you'll see behind me here, I've put up the dash cam footage, and it's an 18-hour drive in 2-3 different chunks, heading out from around Midland, Michigan, up to the north through Mackinac. And so like I say, as we go through here, you can see my trip in the background up through the scenic parts of lower Michigan, upper Michigan, down through Wisconsin and around. And we had a good visit. The interesting thing, I depend on the Camaro. It's pretty good. I keep up with maintenance. There's still more things I want to do to improve the car. I know I've still got work like on headliners not right, and I got door hinges. I got projects to work on. But the car's been pretty doggone reliable, and I keep tabs on it, and so I don't mind, so this is like a 1,200 plus mile loop, and so I think I trust it. But what I will tell you is I had a problem. Code 32 EGR, and in some of my past videos I've been helping other people with Code 32 EGR issues and EGR solenoids and so forth. Well, I got one. And I got up across the Straits of Mackinac and running across in the Upper Peninsula, and suddenly I had a check engine light. And it's like, well, now what do I do? Do I turn around and go back? Or, what is it that I should do? And so what I chose to do was keep driving. And I said, I'll go till lunch, and then I'll stop and check and see what the code is, because the car seemed like it was running okay. And after about 10 or 15 minutes, the light went out. So I got about another 100 miles or so. And I always carry my scan tool. I could have done it with the paperclip method and just dumped codes, but I wanted to see what I could get off the scan tool. And it was a Code 32 EGR performance, and I'm going, dang. Well, at least I know something about that, for one. And then for two, the car's probably not going to die by the side of the road. It's not I've lost ignition, or my fuel injectors are broken, or oxygen sensor. It was it was something I could probably stand, and since it apparently corrected itself, I kept on going. So I made my visits. Otherwise, the car performed very well. But through the course of my trip, what you'll find is that I think I had 5 times that the code 32 set. And, those 5 times, again, it would be, as the trip went on, it got more frequent and it got longer. As I was going up I-75 through Michigan, the last one, I think it stayed on for a half an hour. And then went off for a little bit, and then the last run into my house up there, into the garage, it never did turn off. So, future video coming, where I go through and I've dealt with it, and I think I got it. I'll show you that again in an upcoming separate one. Also, when then after I got up there, I stayed and had a nice time with family. I mean, I haven't had very much family time. A couple of my children came with their kids, and so my grandchildren, and we spent the Labor Day weekend, had a great time up there. I took an extra day and took one of my boats out to Saginaw Bay and did some walleye fishing with one of my neighbors from up there. Got a nice 3-pound walleye. Had a fun day out on the water. You got to pick your days when you go on the bay. That's part of Lake Huron, and you can get nasty waves. So I like to pick a day when they're like 1 to 2 feet, and not more than that. You can kind of go to 3 feet, but when you start getting 2 to 4, 2 to 5, 4 to 6, it's just no fun to be out there. So anyway, it was a nice day, and now I'm back at my residence and crunching video and putting things together. So when I got home, one of the things was a pleasant surprise. Well, I mean, I knew it was coming, but my Mustang steering box came back. And it's all rebuilt. It's all cleaned up pretty now. And I would say that looks like it was painted. Probably blasted and painted. But nice and clean all together. It comes with a tag that says, do not add grease, do not adjust. Drag set at 10 inch-pounds per factory specs at center. Which is, when you do one of these adjustments, there's a high point in the center where it gets tight, and then the mesh is looser on either side. The center point is where you want your steering to be most accurate, and so there's a very tight mesh there. And if you adjust this screw and you don't have it in the center and you don't have the right preload on it, you can damage things. So even though there's a screw there that looks like it's easy to adjust, you don't want to generally tinker with it. But anyway, I think from the time I sent it till the time I got it back was about 2 weeks, and that included postal time. Pretty good. Because I sent it off as I was heading to get the Camaro to go to Wisconsin. And just for information, if you have a Ford steering box that you want to get fixed, this guy seems very knowledgeable. He said he's been in the business 40 years, and it's called Chockostang, Chockostang. And they're on Chalk Road in Murrayville, Illinois. And it cost me $215 plus shipping to get the box rebuilt. In my last video, I showed you what happened to this box and the needle bearing that broke. Before I mailed this to him, I called him up and said, this is what I've got, this is what I found in the box, to make sure that he agreed it was rebuildable was kind of my question. And when I described the bearing failure, he said, I've been doing this for 40 years and I've never seen one like that before. He said, that's a new one on me. So kind of odd to break one of these bearings that way. But I described the condition of my parts and that what I had seen in the video, what I had seen that I showed you in the video. And he said, yeah, it should be all good, just box it up and send it to me. And it was kind of funny. His comment was, he said, be careful, it's heavy, so when you box it up, he said, tape it really good. He said, then go have a beer and come back and tape it some more. Because he said a lot of people don't secure the box enough, don't pad it enough, and you'll end up with, you know, the shaft sticking out through the box. So make sure it's, you know, mine apparently made it. He got it back to me. So now one of my projects in the coming days, well, it might be more than the coming days, is I got to get it back in the Mustang and get the old girl back on the road again. Then I've got some video I've been processing on the LS engine project. We've been going kind of slow this summer because there's been some hot weather and my son's been busy. But I've got some things that we did that I've turned into video, so there's some stuff coming. One last fun thing, this is just for interesting stuff. My wife decided to get me a birthday present this summer. She wanted me to have one of these driving experiences. And we started with some exotic cars, and I didn't like the, I'm going to call it the liability. You know, you could go drive some really expensive cars, but it looked like there was some risk there, financial risk, if you messed up and you damaged the car. They had some insurance, but it didn't cover the full value of the car. Anyhow, I ended up hooking up to one of these, the one called the Racing Experience, and to do hot laps down at Michigan International Speedway. It sounded really cool. I was supposed to do it here in a few days. And then they suddenly, a couple weeks ago, I found out going to their website, they went out of business and closed up shop. So that was like, dang. But I think I got a line on a replacement. And I'm going to report back. If things go right, you know, maybe I'll have some video coming out of that I could post. Should be fun. You know, the chance to go drive a NASCAR style car up on the high banks on Michigan International and turn some times. I don't know how fast they'll let me go, but I'm getting lined up to go spend some time out there. Hey, got to have some fun once in a while stuffed in between all the responsibilities. I mean, after all, I am retired. At least some days I think. I think I'm retired, but some days it doesn't feel like it. Got lots going on. Somehow. Oh, and this one right here, this is part of the video. This is the Zilwaukee Bridge. And for those of you who don't know Michigan, this bridge is, oh, I don't know, it must be 200 or 300 feet in the air. It's on I-75 going north at Saginaw, over the Saginaw River. And they made it so big because you've got freighters, you know, lake boats, big ships that come underneath there and have to clear going upstream. And for many, many years, if you were going up 75 through Michigan, there was a drawbridge down here that you know, you had to stop and wait for the boats and the ships to go through. And so then they built this, like I say, really tall bridge up over the river, and makes life a whole lot better than it was in the olden days. So, in any case, as you watch this video, you know, you'll see me coming around, going down through the traffic in Chicago. The car performed very, very well. It was a hot dude. Fortunately, I'm glad my car has air conditioning because it was like 98 degrees going through Chicago. It was smoking hot that day. But the traffic was flowing. It was a weekday. I tend to pick my days going through Chicago, pick my times. You know, try to go between, you know, 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon so that you're out of the afternoon and morning rush hours. Camaro's a great highway cruiser. It'll go out and run 70, 75 and a little more as traffic and speed limits permit. And I checked again, you know, my mileage, even with the air conditioning running full on in the hot temperatures, my mileage for the loop was about 19.5 miles per gallon, which pretty good. My only complaint with the car, and this is one I've had before, is, you know, it's only a 14-gallon tank. It's the rating on what the replacement tank I put in the car. And I think the factory tank was supposed to be 15. I don't know what the difference is in those ratings, because this was a matched fuel injection tank replacement. But anyway, when you get down to about 11, 12 gallons, you got to stop because you're getting down to your reserve if you're out on the road. And, that's like half the tank in my Yukon. And we get similar fuel economy. So I end up making a lot of stops and getting 10, 11 gallons and getting back on the road. I'm starting to roll here and getting close to my home port here, where I'm going to get the car back in and get it parked. And then after I did that, the grandkids came and they all want to ride in the Camaro. So I went out and gave Camaro rides to people, and we had a really nice time and had a good weekend. So to all of my regular viewers, I hope you had a good holiday, and I'll be sharing more video with you here as time goes on. That's all for now.